Spiritual Ignorance Part 2. Many people in the spiritual community want to preach love and light, rainbows and butterflies. When it comes to loving their own shadow, this is something they have not accomplished yet, which is why when somebody comes out and is their authentic self and is not quote unquote all love and light, they get all uncomfortable and they start preaching, giving your energy away, call your energy back, you're operating from ego, clearly haven't reached a high level of consciousness. If you learn to love your shadow, then you don't have to be fake as fuck, and when somebody comes around and is their authentic self, you won't feel so uncomfortable. So before you go preaching love and light, learn to love yourself. You know, there's an aspect of you that probably thinks this reality that we're in is a fucking shithole, but all you can do is go around and say, this life is beautiful. And it is. There is things that are beautiful about it, but if you understood where you were, you'd also be able to identify with the part of you that's like, what the fuck am I doing here? Kill the ego. You know, this has to be the funniest fucking saying in the spiritual community. Do you know that you can't kill the ego? When I started going through my spiritual awakening in 2013, but in 2015, I went on this quest for knowledge and I kept hearing, kill the ego, and I was like, you mean there's a part of me that I have to kill that I don't even know what they're talking about? Like, what is going on? I was so confused by this kill the ego movement that was going on in 2015. If you think you've killed your ego, all you've simply done is transformed it into a spiritual ego. All love and light, no ego until shit hits the fan, right? Let me ask you this. If Godzilla came into your house and started attacking your Shih Tzu, would you sit there chanting Om? Or would you grab a bat and fuck Godzilla up? All of a sudden your ego is resurrected. Now this next one carries some truth with it, but you'll hear two teachings in the spiritual community that basically contradict each other. You're going to hear, you create your reality. Everything you've experienced is because you've created it. And then you're going to hear you co-create your reality, which, if you ask me, sounds like a partnership, which means that there is some other power or consciousness or being that is reading your energy and determining what you're going to experience. You know, in 2022, I met a psychopath that put a lethal dose of arsenic in my drink, and if it wasn't for Archangel Michael, once again, I would not be here. Did I create? Did I ask for? Did I want that woman to come into my life? Did I co-create that with the universe? Or did a demonic, shamanic woman that's been sending me death spells from 2015 that had her own son jumped off a building because one of her death spells was returned have something to do with it because she was sending karmics into my life? In order for me to meet this demonic psychopath that put a lethal dose of arsenic in my drink, as I was hiking through Golden Ears one day, I was misled by two individuals that are not of the physical. They were crossed over, however, they appeared to be physical to me, and they directed me in the wrong way. If it wasn't for them, I would have went the other way and I wouldn't have met this woman. And one time I was asking Archangel Michael, I was like, how did this happen? Was this divinely orchestrated? Was this something that I needed to experience for my higher good? Or was this spiritual incompetence? And guess which one Archangel Michael told me it was? You lined up as a soul to come to planet Earth. Kind of makes it sound like you're going to Disneyland, right? But the truth about that saying is that you may have lined up as a soul to come to planet Earth, but the only reason why you did it is to burn off karma that you created from past lives. And coming here was far from being exciting like you're going to Disneyland. We are all one. At the highest level, the very highest level, yes, this is true. But does that mean it resonates down here with us on planet Earth? We are all connected, yes, that is true. If one individual does the healing, there's a ripple effect that goes off and helps the collective heal. On planet Earth, we have incarnated into a reality where we have forgotten who we truly are. We have free will and we have our own identity. The way I like to think about it is this. God is a fire, and that fire shoots off sparks into the air, which represents our souls. Now, when a spark shoots off into the air, is it still that fire? Is that spark and the fire the exact same thing? The spark may have the same characteristics, but technically it's no longer the fire as it goes off and creates its own path. Spiritual ignorance around sending black magic to a chosen one. A lot of people that consider themselves to be a chosen one feel that there's no possible way that black magic can affect them because they're a chosen one. But the truth is, the woman from the Philippines that's possessed by the Jezebel spirit that was sending me death spells over the past 10 years, that had her own son jump off a building when one of them was returned, was actually successful in removing individuals before she met me, which is why I made a video titled How to Protect Yourself from Black Magic, which you can find on my profile. Now, when it comes to sending black magic to a chosen one, the ignorant thing about that is that a lot of these people should know better. They should realize that God sees everything. And even if you are successful in taking them out, or whether you're not, there's going to be consequences in the afterlife. And the afterlife's a lot longer than this physical one. Something that we could all learn from and should learn from is the last words that were spoken by Mr. LaVey, the head Satanist. Oh my, what have I done? And that was basically him getting a glimpse that everything that he did on this planet, he was going to experience, meaning all the people that he harmed, his consciousness was going to be placed into them, and he was going to experience all the pain and suffering that they felt. So if you're sending black magic to ruin someone's life, let alone death spells, you need to understand that all the frustration and hardships that they experience, your consciousness is going to be going into them in the afterlife, and you're going to be experiencing that. So why would you want to relive all that? Instead of being jealous of a chosen one, you could simply, learn to open up your heart. So many people are jealous of chosen ones, and so they try to destroy them, which only separates you from God. It makes no sense. If you want to be closer to God, then why don't you start living in a way that would satisfy him? Now, when it comes to spiritual teachings, one thing that I've come to realize is that a lot of people and a lot of content creators out there are just basically refurbishing content that's already been placed out there. How many people out there are just repeating Bashar or Neville Goddard or Abraham Hicks? A lot of times when you hear something over and over, it's repetitive and it becomes your subconscious and you just accept it as truth. A lot of people will just repeat what they've said and they've actually had no experience from it. A lot of my teachings come from angelic visitations, like the multiple visitations I've had from Archangel Michael, the soul of Jesus, and even multiple visitations from Lucifer. The out-of-body experiences I've had, things I've learned working with plant medicine, and 10 years of working with shamans. When it comes to spiritual teachings, my last piece of advice in this video is you really want to check in with your gut. And just because you hear everybody repeating the same bullshit doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. Check in with your gut. If it doesn't resonate, you don't have to go with the status quo.